everybody. Welcome to the Extra Point Show this week. How's it going?
What? Are we supposed to say?
I don't know. I mean, like that's fine.
All right,
That's
yeah.
fine.
Welcome to the X Point Show. I'll say the same thing. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, no, I mean it's totally fine.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything. This show has the potential to either be the best or worst show we've ever done because we don't really ever script anything, but this one really is going to be
This one
going
has like
well.
literally none, like
Yeah.
none at all.
Yeah, usually we try to put something like rough outlines together and yeah, we didn't even do that, but it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just gonna roll with it and improvise. I mean, it's just like
I mean, we
literally
both watched. We both watched at least, the
watched a lot of
Washington Niners game, and I
yeah,
did. I did check into the other games as well. So I
I
mean,
did.
it's not like we didn't watch. I just didn't. I had a lot going on this
I
weekend. So
watched I watched 3 games of foot yeah, as did I. I watched 3 games of football yesterday and the Washington versus Buffalo, which
which
wasn't
was
great,
awful.
which wasn't great. And I watched the Niners Green Bay, which you
Also
know
wasn't great.
what wasn't great on the result, but they did play some inspired football, so we'll get more into that in a bit. And then the third game that I watched, but like I just had to see if it was as bad as it looked. Like it's almost like when you drive past a car crash on the street, then you're like, oh fuck, somebody could be like dead.
No one wants to admit that shit, but
Yeah, yeah, but
everybody does
everybody
it. It's like
looks, but everybody
you
looks.
see someone
So
motorcycle crash on the ground,
yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
all,
yeah.
oh shit,
So yeah, yeah.
oh.
So that's just the reality. With that being said, the third game that I watched was the Denver Broncos, the Broncos of Denver against the New York Jets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did stomp them
because
out.
I had to see what Salah was doing out there. I was like, what is Salah doing? And mainly I wanted to see how he looked as a head coach. Like I wanted to see like if he still did the like really getting fired up shit that he did in San Francisco, that he was really
Yeah.
known for, like like jumping up with his players and celebrating and stuff.
Hmm.
And I mean, like, I don't know if he's just not doing that in general, but he didn't in that game. But they lost 26-0, so there's probably not much to celebrate.
Yeah, there's really not much. Yeah, right. Like you can't
Yeah,
blame him on that. It's like Jesus. I mean,
yeah.
how much is that him and how much is that the team? Like,
They got a couple sacks on Theodore Bridgewater. Um, they got a couple sacks, but I will say this: the defense played well in that game. Like, I mean, and it seems like 26-0. They didn't play that good, but on a lot of those drives, they were holding the Broncos to field goals, and Teddy was really
okay,
efficient. So, I mean,
it's not
Salah's
bad.
putting his stamp on the defense. I mean, he did a lot of good things for us for years,
Better
and
than you can say about Washington's defense, maybe.
yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get
I
into
mean,
that
I will.
later.
Yeah, I would imagine as sad as it is, like right now with the way Washington's been getting gashed, that the Jets might have a better defensive ranking. Their offense is like got to be
They
pretty
probably
good.
do. We're close
Yeah,
to last.
yeah.
It's
Now I will
ridiculous.
say this about that game: that young Zach Wilson, that poor Zach Wilson, like oh my God, he's got
He
two
got
touchdowns on the
two
season to
interceptions.
yeah,
He had two
two picks
interceptions that
yesterday.
game. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, so actually watching the game, none of the interceptions came until like the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. So he
Oh,
played
really?
turnover
Okay.
free football until then. Like that's what I said. I had to get a look at it and see how it was looking for myself. They didn't have Tevin Coleman, so they weren't able to run the ball very well. So a lot of it was on Zach Wilson. But yeah, he was like I want to say he was like 18 out of 30 for like 130 yards, like no touchdowns, 2 picks. It was a rough outing for the young man, but I mean he did make some good throws out there. Another thing I
Yeah.
realized is the Jets are just fucking depleted, man. Like they just don't have a lot of good players around him. They've kind of
Mm.
built up the offensive line because they have Elijah Vera Tucker, who they took also in the first round, and then they have former Washington Redskin Jamison Crowder. Um, they have him as well, but he hasn't been playing. He's out. So really, their best receiver they've had is Braxton Berrios, who I mean, if you haven't heard of
I don't
him,
even know. I don't even
not
know who
yeah,
that is, man.
exactly. Braxton Berrios, not a household name. Um,
Mm.
so and then they've got
So
Elijah Moore, some rookie. So he's really not playing with a lot of good. And for the tight end game, I mean, his tight ends are Tyler Croft, who caught 2 passes and then left with a chest injury in that game, and then they were going to Ryan Griffin, who's like another unheard of a guy
yeah, I
that's
don't know
more
that
known
name either.
for his blocking than his receiving game. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the Jets will get better. I mean, they weren't great under Adam Gase, but I mean, the defense is definitely what they're going to
Like,
be.
hey, there's not much more to go than up. So
Yeah, that's true.
see, I know you mentioned Tevin Coleman. So before I'm going to mention the next matchup that kind of surprised me here. But speaking of, you said Tevin Coleman, another, it's an X-Niner, correct?
Yep.
Yep. So speaking of X-Niners, one that I'm having a little bit of a hate for right now is Emmanuel Sanders.
I knew you were going to mention Emmanuel Sanders.
After that goddamn Bills game, like which
Yeah.
I'll talk more about later, but this sums up the way I feel about it. But
Oh.
Jesus Christ, man, like I used to root for him, with you,
Yeah.
but now it's like, fuck.
a lot of people would make the argument though, and I don't know. I think that I've got, like T's and P's to everybody that, like even puts on the red and the gold for even one game and helps us out, like.
Right, I get that.
But at the same time, I will say this: a lot of the faithful make the argument that Emmanuel Sanders wasn't a Niner; he was a rental, because we basically traded for him for like half a season, and
Yeah,
we
that's
basically
kinda true.
went to the bowl with him. But I mean, he was a good, like, I mean, he did help us that year, and he was a
Also,
good
when
player,
it's like
but
a player like for example, like a good example of like where this could like Ryan Kerrigan, he's on the
Yeah.
Eagles.
Yeah.
So like let's see, he sacks Washington's quarterback. Like if any Washington fan on the planet is like happy about that, like
Yeah.
that's like no, like I don't care
Yeah.
how long he was on the team, like you
Yeah.
cannot be happy about that. But
yeah, I mean, there's 16 other games he can get sacks in, or I mean,
I know
in
it's
the
just
division,
more like
15.
when it affects your team, that's when it like matters.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like there's 15 other
Yeah.
games on the schedule that you can be happy that Kerrigan gets a sack in. You don't have to be happy he gets, like, I mean, I'm always gonna struggle, like hope that, like,
It depends on their record, but
I
like
mean,
it might be,
like I always fucking loved Alex Smith, but I didn't want Alex Smith to come like put up 30 on us or anything. It's like, I mean, sometimes you have like the opposing quarterback is like a fantasy, like, like matchup, like,
right.
oh, perfect example. For any faithful here or anybody that's that even plays fantasy football that would get this, but I have Aaron as my starting quarterback, so I had to go start Aaron against our defense, and I was like, well, I was like hoping the Niners win the game, but I was like, I'm not gonna be mad if Aaron throws for 400 and doesn't get in the end zone, like, I mean, like, and he got 2 touchdowns on us, so I mean they won either way, but it wasn't specifically. See, here's the thing: if they were gonna beat us anyway, because I lost that matchup, which sucks, I would have been like, all
Dude,
right,
I got spanked last week.
If they're gonna
now,
score 4 touchdowns, like I would have just rather had Aaron throw all 4 touchdowns. I was like, fuck the ones that Aaron Jones got on the ground. I was like, come on, man, at least light it up. Yeah, and you have Tom Brady. So the one game that Tom Brady doesn't like throw.
You're cutting out.
Is that better? Is that? Can you hear me now?
It did just come back. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm down in 8th place now, and you're in 10th place. So we're doing fantastic.
We're. So I've evaluated what I did wrong. I didn't put enough emphasis on the wide receiver position. And like the guys I took are kind of bunk. Like I thought Carolina would be using Robbie Anderson more, and like they only decide to throw to fucking DJ Moore. I was like I'm watching the Carolina spank the Houston Texans last week on Thursday Night Football.
Speaking of that, guess who's in last place in that division? I'm sure you already know.
Fucking. Well, let's see. It's Houston's 1 and 2, Tennessee's. Oh, it's the Colts. The goddamn Colts.
Wait, no, I'm sorry. Then aren't the Chiefs in that division?
No, the Chiefs are in the AFC West with the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chargers. But they are, and we can definitely touch on that. The Chiefs. That's what I was getting at. The Chiefs have kind of gotten like fucking jobbed out. Like they got beat by Lamar on a 4th down play on the goal line.
You're right. It is the Raiders. I remember seeing it now.
And then and then they fucking lost to the damn Chargers. Justin Herbert beat him. Like he threw a touchdown pass with like less than 30 seconds left because the game was tied 24-24 and the Chargers didn't want to, which I respect the hell out of. Gutsy call by Brandon Staley. I mean, you want to kick a field goal with Patrick Mahomes, give him the ball with fucking 30 seconds. kick a field goal. I mean, it's a ballsy call to go for it, but I mean, you're tied. You just go to overtime.
So speaking of like crazy
Right.
upsets, like like the Chiefs being last, the
Yeah.
Bucks lost, and I know that firsthand because I live right near Tampa. I'm in St. Petersburg, so I see Bucks shit every day, all day,
Yeah.
and I don't mind the Bucks that much, like, but I'm a little sour about last playoffs, but it is what it is. But seeing the Rams beat them, I was so pissed off because like they're 3-0 now, and the Niners are like they're 2-1, right? Yeah. So and I didn't expect them to beat Tom Brady, and I'm like, what the fuck, Tom? Like,
Well,
come on, man.
yeah. So about that. Yeah. So obviously the Rams, I was hoping that they would struggle with the ability to run the ball, and they've been running the ball just fine. Like yesterday, Sony Michel had 20 carries for them. We've talked about it on previous shows. He was the guy that they traded for from New England. So obviously a big get for them since
I feel like my prediction for the Niners division was Rams being first. I feel like we have to go back and check that, but
yeah,
they have Matt Stafford now, and I think that's
well,
what I said. I was
yeah,
like, they got Matt Stafford, and
you did say that, but they're not just in first. I mean, I also said that I thought the Cardinals would be in first as well, and the Cardinals are tied for first at 3-0. So, and I also predicted that Seattle would be last, which is also correct.
that's true. That's true. They're both doing they're
I
doing good
thought
things.
that Seattle
Same.
would collapse and Pete would lose the team, and it is happening. They've collapsed twice in the second half. Kirk's cousin,
I
Kirk's
know, seeing
cousin,
that's great.
Kirk's
That's
cousin
great.
showed up yesterday and just like swept the Vikings out from an 0-3 start to beat the Seahawks. Let's give it up to Kirk's cousin. I love Kirk's cousin. I'm gonna buy myself a Kirk Cousins jersey just because of that.
There's a lot of Redskins fans out there that already have one, and they probably are like, "Oh, fuck Kirk Cousins." You know what? I would take Kirk Cousins back right now.
I bet you would.
I mean, I like Taylor Heineke,
after,
and I hope he does really well and proves
after
all the haters wrong.
43-21. I bet you would take fucking Kirk Cousins back.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is like fuck Washington. That's why he signed with you guys.
No, all right, you know what? If you're gonna bring up that fucking score, hold on, no. If you're gonna bring up that 43-21, that's the defense's fault. All right, and it's the worst thing to have to admit, but this hyped up defense of Washington sucks ass right now. And 3 weeks in, we're almost fucking last in the division in almost every category. I think our best place is like 27th. And that is just fucking terrible. If that's a taste of the Redskins segment for this week, it's just going to be a bunch of pissed off. Like,
yeah, I mean, it wasn't good, but I mean, it's early in the season, and the good thing is, like, with one good game, you can start getting all their fucking confidence up and start getting them feeling good about themselves.
Taylor did have that Superman dive and hit the pylon.
And guess who you play this week? You fucking play
Atlanta.
You play Atlanta. And the fucking Falcons are terrible. They had to beat the Giants on a young
David, what that means is if we lose, then it's like all hope is gone.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, Matt Ryan is like 1,000. I mean, he's like 38 years old. I mean, their running back game has been former 49er Mike Davis, who's like a career backup guy mostly.
You know what's funny? I think he's on my fantasy team, unfortunately.
Why'd you draft him, buddy? That's a bad call. That's a bad call.
Hold on. Now, see, I have somebody from Atlanta.
You gotta trade him off. You gotta trade for
I got somebody from Atlanta. Hold on. Let me check.
If you play fantasy football, here's some tips for you. If you can get yourself Jonathan Taylor for the Colts, his stock is up, and we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
This is my first time ever doing fantasy, so
yeah, he's learning. Although I've done it a bunch of times and I'm not doing any better. Although,
who did you say on the Falcons, a running back?
Mike Davis.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Drop him. You gotta drop him.
I mean, I also have T. Williams from the Ravens.
Oh, and you have Tyson Williams. He's not even the starter anymore. Now the Ravens have gone to Latavius Murray.
That's what I figured. Is that so? I'm pretty much.
You've got two backup running backs in there. But that's like the same situation. I've got like receivers that my running backs have great games. Fucking Najee Harris for the Steelers, little rookie running back, has been killing it for me.
My fantasy name is McLaurin F1, like I'm all fast, and I got two backup running backs.
Idiot.
Oh man. Although, I mean, I got Gibson and McLaurin on there, but that doesn't.
That's true.
I got Deebo Samuel too.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's been having a great season.
All right, well, fuck this shit. All right, man, I just almost want to restart now.
Yeah, I mean, it's too late. You can still come back and win. It's only 0-2.
Yeah, I gotta see if there's like a way to pick up free agents, and I thought or
Yeah,
something like during the week, and
I'll show
I
you.
put in a waiver for somebody. I think
Oh,
it was
good.
a receiver though,
I
or
hope it
no, you know
wasn't.
what? I think it
I
was a
I hope it wasn't anybody I
no,
put
it
in
was
a
a
waiver
running
for
back.
because I have 2 waivers in right now. I'm trying. I'm
Wait, how
trying
do
to.
you check that shit?
I'm trying to get me Emmanuel Sanders, boy.
Wait, I think that's who I did it for.
Oh shit.
You're fucking kidding. Are you serious?
Yeah. It
That's
depends. I mean,
exactly who I did.
whoever has the waiver claim first, because we'll have like a waiver order each week. It changes. We'll get them. So, but I
Oh,
put
I
in.
gotta check. I gotta check this. You put in 2 for him?
No, I just put in. I put in 2 overall, but I put in 1 for him. So we'll see
Oh,
what
waivers.
happens
Here
here.
we go.
like I can fucking see that. Oh, okay.
Now,
I see
now,
that. You trying to drop Russell Gage? I wouldn't have had Russell Gage in the first place.
yeah. Well, I
If
didn't.
anybody that watches the show plays fantasy football, you're getting some little sideshow.
You're seeing someone who has only played 1 time. I did that. I have one other league, but it's even worse,
All right,
I
let's see.
think, than this one.
Yeah, well, I'm doing good in my other ones. So, okay, so look at this. Oh, let's
Yeah,
see.
you gotta let it focus. Gotta let it focus.
Oh,
Let it back a little bit. That's
other way.
too close. I think
Emmanuel
almost good.
Sanders for Mark
There
Ingram.
we go. Mark Ingram.
Fuck Mark
That's
Ingram.
Jesus. I wouldn't do that, but all right.
Mark Ingram got me 3 fantasy points in the last game he played against. And then I'm also trying to get Tim Patrick. This Tim Patrick for the Broncos. I'm trying to drop Kansas City's shitty defense because it's doing me no favors. They got torched by Justin Herbert yesterday.
Couldn't you just roll like without his defense? Because I feel like another player would.
Oh my god!
Easily...
You're just gonna get. You've got to have a defense in there. It won't let you proceed without like.
Oh, all right. I didn't know.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I don't think so. Anyway. But I mean, it'll definitely get you 0. But it's not like you can just put a player of your choice in there, like another running back.
Oh, I see.
Everybody would do that, dude. Jesus Christ. Like that'd be the easiest thing to do. You just win all the time. I just fucking like hit it with fucking in my other league, I got Derrick Henry. Some idiot that probably likes Dallas, and that's fine if you do. I mean, good for you. You're probably the one that did me the solid, and I thank you for that.
Right.
But somebody tried to trade me Josh Jacobs, who's a starter at running back for the Raiders. You know, he's been hurt, but he's definitely a good player. He's gonna come back soon and do good things. And a Derrick Henry for CD Lamb. 2 running backs that start for 1 starting receiver. I was like, I don't care how many balls Dak throws his ways. Because Derrick Henry gets 200 yards a game by himself and usually a touchdown or 2. I was like, that man can't be stopped. Derrick Henry's like a fucking battering ram of like just fucking muscle and just rage.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a bad trade on that guy's part. I saw it and I hit accept before he could back out and change his mind.
Speaking of the, goddamn Cowboys.
Yep.
They won against the Eagles.
They looked very good.
Like one, yeah. You don't say it like, oh, they look very. You could be a little less enthusiastic about it, geez. But yes, they did.
They did. Put up 41 points. Dak had in his first home start in almost a year, he had 3 touchdowns.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, they
No, if you have anything to say, you're.
No, I was just gonna say, I think they're gonna be more problematic that you think. I mean, but on the flip side, I think that obviously the New York Giants are definitely off to an 0-3 start, and that's gonna be a tough hole to climb out of.
Yep, thank God. But Cowboys, man, ugh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as some stuff that's happening around the league right now, we said we'd talk about it a little bit later. The Colts are currently shopping one of their running backs, Marlon Mack is who they're trying to get rid of. They've he's kind of like he was their starter in 2019. He had over 1,000 yards, started 14 games for him, but he's kind of fallen down. They've got Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines as the primary running backs now. So the way that the carries have been distributed so far in the season through 3 games, Taylor has 41 carries, Hines has 16 carries, and Marlon Mack only has 5 carries. So he's pretty much been a non-factor in the offense. So they're going to be looking to trade him, see what kind of value they can get, and there are a few teams in the NFL that are have been hit with injuries to the running back position, most notably Baltimore, who lost Justice Hill, uh, Gus Edwards, and J.K. Dobbins, all 3 of those running backs. They did end up signing Le'Veon Bell and Latavius Murray and a few other running backs, and they have Tyson Williams as well, who we just mentioned being on your fantasy team. But um, they could be a potential landing spot for Mac, and then also possibly the Rams might look to add him as well, which I certainly hope not, because they're looking good enough with just Sony Michel running the ball, and
Yeah.
obviously they are throwing the football super effectively. So we'll see where he ends up and what kind of value that the Colts can get. Speaking of the Colts, on just a side note, I did just want to mention maybe the most badass player of the week, I think, might have to go to Carson Wentz, actually. Like, I did not think there was any chance Carson Wentz played, and he definitely started for the Colts. They lost to the Titans 25-16, but I mean,
Mm.
with 2 sprained ankles on like 1 week's rest, I did not think that dude was going to be able to play.
Yeah, that doesn't even. I mean, that seems like a bad choice, but I mean,
Yeah, I
damn,
mean, you got
to
to
be tough.
admire that gusto, but yeah, as a team
Yeah.
leader, but yeah, that's crazy. That is certainly crazy. Um, but yeah, he unfortunately couldn't get the win for the Colts as they're 0-3 now. But yeah, we'll see if they can get any draft pick capital or anything for that from Marlon Mack in the near future.
Any other games you want to mention before we wrap up,
Um, trying to
or other notable news?
yeah, I mean, Richard Sherman visited the Buccaneers today. Speaking of Bucks
Oh,
news,
I heard about that.
yeah,
That's right. I heard. Oh, I
yeah.
heard. Well,
So
yeah, I heard about the Richard Sherman Bucks, of course. But yeah, I heard.
yeah,
Yeah, the fact that he got that's awesome. Like, I'm happy as fuck for him
yeah,
if
yeah,
he gets something out of it.
yeah. I mean, he wanted to play for a contender. That's and they certainly are.
Yeah.
Obviously, definitely favorites to possibly go back to the playoffs, if not, maybe even make a deep run again. But yeah, I mean, he was somebody that we were also talking about adding, but we ended up getting some other players. I know that for us specifically, I think if his price wasn't so high, we probably would have added him at some point already. But I mean, obviously he's 33, and he, isn't cheap per se, but he's a good veteran presence, and the
That does depend on the contract. I mean, knowing
yeah,
like the issues he had, he's been out. Like, I would imagine if he does come back,
yeah,
he
I
probably
think
would
he'll
not
I
make the
think he'll
same
make
amount
a
that he
little.
used to.
I think he's gonna have to like make a little bit less, obviously, but
Yeah.
um, I mean, I'm sure he'll still make more than like what we were willing to pay like some of the guys that we've been bringing in, which I'll mention here in the Niners segment. But yeah, I mean, Tampa's been pretty littered with injuries. I mean, Sean Murphy Bunting, who's one of their top corners, he got injured early in week 1. Um, they also had Carlton Davis get hurt. Jamel Dean went down with a knee injury. They don't think Jamel Dean's going to be hurt super long, but that's 3 corners right there. So one of the reasons that they lost to the Bucks, because the Bucks offense didn't look too bad at what they scored 24. I think they lost 20,
Yeah.
34, 24.
34-24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the offense didn't look bad. It was a defense that couldn't stop anybody. They had a career special teamer in there that had 4 defensive snaps in there trying to cover Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods as the Rams receivers. So like it wasn't so much on like what the Bucks offense. They were just getting torched by Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford is good at torching
Sounds
good
familiar.
corners.
Like, oh, the
Yeah,
defense just sucks.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah.
All
it's
right.
it's a popular theme. But yeah. Anyway, so Richard Sherman, if signed, and he probably will be, will if he's brought in, pays immediate dividends. I mean,
I mean, hey, and more reason, I guess, for me living so close to Tampa to like maybe go to a Bucks game since I can't go to a
Yeah,
Washington
I
game.
mean, Uncle
Like,
Sherm, he was good. He
that
helped
would
us
be
for
sweet.
3 years.
Like if he
Yeah,
was there,
yeah. Uncle Sherm's a
that
good
would make it
player.
more exciting.
Yeah, I like him. I mean, I was kind of hoping he'd come back and do something for us if we needed him. I mean, we've been banged up at corner too, so
Yeah,
we'll see what happens for that.
that would be
Other,
the most ideal outcome.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Other notable news around the league. The Lions today officially released former Patriot and Cleveland Brown linebacker Jamie Collins after appearing in 2 of the 3 games. The Lions decided that they were going to go younger at the position, and Collins was inactive for the last game against the Ravens. And yeah, they weren't able to trade him over the weekend. They had him inactive because they didn't want to risk injury. A lot of times teams will do that with a player they're trying to trade because obviously if he gets hurt, there's no trade value there. So they held him out of
Yeah.
that game. They didn't find a trade partner. They cut him today. And
Mm.
Collins is he was a 2015 Pro Bowler, was signed with Detroit last year when Matt Patricia was still the coach, obviously former New England assistant, had familiarity with him. So he lasted 2 games in the Dan Quinn system, and then they moved on from him. So teams potentially looking for a linebacker could potentially sign him. Not really.
Washington might need some.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, it's hard to figure out, like, and we'll get more into that, but it's hard to figure out where the issue is. I mean, is it a secondary problem? Is it? I think a lot of it comes down to there hasn't been consistent pressure from the defensive line, and I'm sure we'll get into that more.
We'll get into it.
But yeah,
I'll get more and more irritated.
yeah, yeah. But let's see. We talked about the Sherm thing. We talked about Jamie Collins, where he might end up. Marlon Mack. Kansas
I
City.
think we covered most all the games at least the most notable ones. There might be 1 or 2 we didn't.
Yeah, there was just going to be one more thing that I was going to mention here, and that's
okay.
Josh Gordon is officially cleared to return again for like the 10th time. Josh Gordon is last played for the Seahawks last year. He played in 11 games for them and averaged like 15 yards a catch. So even though he hasn't been in the league a lot lately, and Josh Gordon, if you don't know, he's a guy that's been suspended on and off throughout his career. This is a guy that back in 2013 led the NFL in receiving. He had like 1,700 yards and like 9 touchdowns for the Browns. So this is the guy playing on the Browns that led the NFL in receiving.
Ooh.
So like you know how like impressive and dynamic he would have had to have been for that, because I mean like the Browns like have had inconsistency at the court. Yeah, and he averaged 18.9 yards a catch. On his career, he's averaging 17.9 yards a catch. So he's a deep threat. He's like a Deshaun Jackson type player. Last year with the Seahawks, he played in 11 games, caught 27 passes for them, 1 touchdown. But he's officially been cleared. He's been having a lot of issues with substance abuse. That's usually the gist of why he gets suspended. He's had alcohol treatment issues on and off in his career.
Oh, I know something else too. Is this isn't the same person who like offered a drug tester a bribe, right? Did you hear about that one?
I don't know if that was Josh Gordon or not. Maybe it might have been.
It was somebody.
He's been suspended so many times it's possible. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, somebody tried to like bribe a drug test.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll have to. Okay, I'll have to look that up and verify that. That's okay.
I know. I saw something about it. It was definitely recently.
That was in the NFL. Oh, okay.
Yes, absolutely. It was like I think it was like it was a big guy. I don't know. I don't remember what team it was now. I just remember seeing it and then like, haha, that's funny. Trying to bribe them. And like, I guess you don't even really get like suspended for a positive test apparently. So like, what the fuck's this guy thinking? Like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah, here we go. Oh wow, Cowboys tackle.
Cowboys
tried to bribe drug test collector. Yeah, okay. All right. Was trying to avoid a penalty after he missed 7 drug tests. Oh wow. Okay.
Nice. Awesome. It's the Cowboys. That's perfect.
Well,
we them boys, right? Yeah. Fucking idiots.
Jesus.
Ugh, God. Well, I can't believe I just said that. Ugh.
Well.
All right.
Yeah. If you support Dallas and watch the show, keep on watching.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
No,
if you want to.
even though we just totally shit all over your team, or he did
You know
more
what? It's gonna
specifically,
happen,
but
but you
that's
know what?
fine.
You
Yeah,
can shit on Washington all you want. It's fine.
yeah, it's
It's a
fucking,
just within reason. No one's
goddamn,
being no one's that
goddamn,
excessive about it.
fucking Josh
I'm
Allen.
not I'm not gonna wish Dak Prescott like gets his legs
No, of
snapped
course,
off. All
yeah,
right, like
yeah.
so none
He
of
was
that stuff.
actually
But
like, it was actually like kind of nice. Did you see Dak? He was like, I don't know if you saw that part, but he's like, it was his first home start in almost a year. So like they showed him when they were playing the anthem, and dude was like crying a little bit. That had to be emotional for. It's like, all right, Dak. I'll give you a little small golf clap for your return to the NFL. Good for you. Like,
yeah,
cause
he seems like a good guy.
I don't wish injury on anybody. I'm not a piece of shit like that. I'm
Unless
not.
it's
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, come on, it's true.
well, well. I mean,
There's a couple exceptions
yeah.
to the rule. There's a couple out there.
Yeah, I mean,
Where
like
it's
I will say this. I mean, if like in the instance, like anytime like Michael Vick would exit the game with an injury, which was basically every game he played in, I was like, oh shit, all right, well, yeah. Like I just thought about like those pit bulls, and I was like, well, they la
like,
vie.
well,
It's like shit. Sucks to
yeah.
suck, brother. Anyway. Yeah, moving on. Like I said, this show is going to be completely random, but it might be good. Might be good. Watch it
Yeah.
anyway. I mean, we see more people are watching, which call out to everybody watching the show. So
Yeah, we definitely
props to you
appreciate it.
guys. Yeah,
Every view
definitely.
helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tips help.
Trying to grow to 1,000 here. So tell your friends if they like football to check us out. You never know what the hell we're going to talk about. We don't even know, especially in episodes like this. So, yeah, Josh Gordon. We'll see what he does for the already explosive Chiefs offense. It's not like Patrick Mahomes doesn't already have enough people to throw the damn ball to with Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. Now he's got Josh Gordon. I mean, that offense is going to be able to stretch the field. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's very good offense. Anyway.
Oh man, I knew a good fantasy team with that. Oh man, it's like, what was it? Man, I can't remember right now. Never mind.
I do not know.
It's something funny like. All right, I'm sorry I even mentioned it.
It's all good. Doesn't even matter. In the end, it doesn't even matter.
I'm sure if you Google it, like good Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like fantasy names, I guarantee it will come up.
Probably.
It's fun.
Mine is
bored,
the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, which is, you know what I should have done though?
Yeah,
I should have made it.
good.
I should have made it the Grinch that held Christmas maybe, because he's an offensive lineman and he gets called.
I would have done
a lot.
You know what I would have done?
Like
the juice is worth. I would have done the juice is worth the squeeze.
Oh, that would have been a good one too. Also, popular call
I
out.
just came up with that one too.
Yeah, the juice. Juice, by the way, getting in. Fucking heroic last minute fucking touchdown until it wasn't. Fucking. We're gonna get more into that in a minute. I don't want to fucking.
I thought of another one. You know that song by Imagine Dragons, Gold? Have you heard that song?
Good as gold.
Everything.
Good.
Maybe I don't know.
Robbie
I was
Gould.
thinking, yeah. I was like, or
Good as
everything
gold,
I touch is gold.
He has been good this year. Props to Robbie. I hope he makes every fucking field goal this year.
Oh,
Robbie Maddock.
This is worth mentioning, even not just on the Redskins show. Dustin Hopkins recovered a punt.
Fucking saw that. Oh my god, that was dude. The way he struck that ball, and I'm always down to talk about kicker shit. The way that ball hit, and then just like the trajectory like bounced back towards Washington was just crazy. Like you could tell the fucking like return man on Buffalo is just like, what the fuck? Like he didn't know where the ball was gonna go. Just totally took a bad hop. But yeah,
dude.
And then Hopkins just comes up and breadbaskets the ball. And I was like, you love to see.
Yeah, he's like, hey guys, hey guys,
that had.
I got it.
I've shown you. I know the Pat McAfee where he recovers his own onside kick, right? Because Pat used to do the kickoffs in Indy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Pat like runs up and just like does the
connection
own
seems
like
to
he
be
just
getting
does the
poor
dribbler and
again.
then he just like dives on the ball. Hell yeah. Fucking totally caught the other team off guard. But yeah, Dustin Hopkins did have a good special teams play with that. And like I mean kickers were showing out this weekend. Fucking Justin Tucker nailed a 66 yarder, setting an NFL record.
Oh yeah, that was the next thing I was thinking of because
Yeah.
that's great. I remember
To beat the
I don't
Lions. Motor City Dan
somebody
Campbell has to Dan Campbell has the best 0-3 team in the NFL. I will say that. Like the Lions have continued to fight in all three of their games. Like they fought against us week 1. We were blowing them
mhm.
out. Then they fucking rallied, fucking lost 41-33, albeit against a
They
lot
almost beat the
of
Ravens 2 points shy.
yeah. Yeah, they were leading in a lot of that game after being down 13-0. I mean, Motor City Dan Campbell, like he's he's got some things going on. He's got a ways to go, but I mean, Detroit's playing hard for him, and you like to see that. But yeah, definitely a heartbreaker. You think there's like no way the kicker's gonna make that shit. Like Dan Campbell's like, we got this shit in the bag. 66 yards. That is a fucking heroic feat. My
Wait,
God.
wait, no, I'm sorry. Wait, Justin Tucker made that game.
Yeah, who did I say?
You said Dan Campbell was like, oh, I get it because he was
Dan Campbell
surprised.
thought he had the win in the bag.
Oh, I
Dan
get it.
Campbell
I was
thought he
like,
had the
well, I
goddamn
got
win.
confused.
Fucking John Harbaugh trots out his kicker to try a 66-yard field goal. Campbell's like, there's no way this some bitch is going through. We got this, boys.
And it's
I
good.
bet
And
Goff's on the sideline, fucking celebrating, fucking
I
texting McVay,
personally,
fuck
I
you.
love it because I always used to think that Justin Tucker had the record, but I know it's Matt Prater at 64 yards.
He's got the
when
record now.
somebody made a post on Facebook about it, and it was like, oh, he made a 66 yarder, and I was like, oh, dude, that's a record because Matt Prater had
Yeah.
the old record of 64 yards, and I was like, perfect. Now the guy who I always thought had the record and really probably should. He's the best
just
kicker
the
in the
most
NFL.
accurate. Yeah, you just thought that he had like the.
Yeah, but he's clearly got the leg power too. He's got the accuracy and
Yeah.
the leg power, so he just showed it. He's the best kicker, really, like of all time, almost.
I think
Yeah.
they've tried longer ones. Like I feel like one time the Raiders with Sebastian Janikowski tried a 70-yarder, and like he had a I don't know. Do you remember Sebastian Janikowski? Sebastian Janikowski.
No,
It
I
was-
mean, I wouldn't say it matters though that much because it's like it's not
It
about
was-
trying a long kick. It's like his percentage and like the
Yeah.
fact that he then also made this long kick. It's like everything that Justin Tucker's done is what makes it. You can make someone makes a 69-yard kick or whatever in practice. Well, great, congratulations. But it's your game stats and percentages and like what you actually done in the game. And so it's like he's easily the best.
Yeah, I mean, obviously nobody cares what you make, and like those practice kicks aren't recorded, so
Right.
yeah, I mean, why would anybody care about that?
It's like when people are like, oh, they really threw 3
also no
interceptions,
field
but
goal
they only
rush.
recorded 2
in practice, which is like a big thing. I mean,
in practice. Yeah.
There's also a lot of times kick off a tee, which doesn't happen in a game. There's a lot of elements. There's no snap. There's like not a whole lot of operation. You're usually just kicking placement, so it's different. Lot can go wrong with the
Yeah,
field
definitely.
goal operations. It could be a bad snap. The snap could be high.
Hey, welcome to the Redskins rundown this week. Unfortunately, it's not really a great week to report on, but I will start with the positive of the severe loss to Buffalo. That was 43-21. The only positives that I can remember to think of were Taylor Heineke did his, I'm going to call it his signature move because we all remember the playoff game against the Bucks, the diving touchdown. He basically did the same thing on the opposite pylon, which was really awesome. I mean, I think it was 14-21 at that point. So it really, at that point, I thought, oh, this is a game.
They got back in it. Yeah.
Yeah, like it looked like, oh, okay, it's not hopeless. And then there was that, and then there was the 73-yard reception by Gibson, which it was a catch, but like he ran like 66 of those yards.
It was a screen, and he really just outraced the entire Buffalo defense. Like it was basically he had guys like even with him, and like he broke past. I mean, he accelerated past and really just showed that breakaway speed. And for the life of me, and I don't know, maybe like I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I have at times in the last couple seasons, Bud, when we've been watching these games together, I've questioned the creativity of Scott Turner. And
Oh
one
no,
thing
I'm
that I
with
will
you.
that
I'm
I
with
will
you
say,
100%.
one thing that I will say, bud, is like Antonio Gibson, a former wide receiver, does that with the one ball he catches, and you target the man twice.
Yeah.
That seems like he needs to get more touches. And for that matter, like and I get it in this respect. Based on the score, you couldn't do a lot of carries, but Gibson 12 carries, 31 yards on the ground, 2.6 yard average. Like, I mean, that's not a lot of
I mean,
opportunities.
he did get. I mean, that is 12. That's not nothing.
Yeah.
He did get some opportunities, but I mean, I get what you're saying. I don't know if it's. Yeah, there's definitely some questioning of like what Scott Turner's doing and what Jack Del Rio's doing. It's like there's all this praise, like the defense. I mean, I don't want to get into it, but that's the whole thing. The whole thing to talk about is how shitty the defense looks. Like, we want to talk about the positives and like Heineke, he did throw some interceptions, but like he's doing some good things. But no, what everyone is thinking about is defense looks like shit for the top. I think it was the top 4 or maybe number 2 in some aspects last season.
Yeah,
like,
I think there were 2 in a
it was
lot.
number, yeah, 2 in a lot. I think it was 4. I think it was 2 in some things and 4 overall. To have that and all this hype and the front 4 to come out, like our best ranking right now is 27th in one of the 5 categories that they list on defensive ranking, and like that's just like sickening after all of this hype and how good we did last year. And it's like, and then that's why Buffalo's a good team, but like 43-21, if we have
Their
an elite
offense is
defense, they shouldn't
explosive.
be able to score. But still, if we have
Yeah.
that good of a defense, they should not be able to score 43 points. That's
Yeah.
just ridiculous.
No, you're right, and I mean, to that point as well, they had come out, and I want to say Buffalo, shockingly enough, like I want to say they lost their first game. Yeah, they did. They lost their first game to Pittsburgh, which was weird as hell, given how Pittsburgh's been playing lately. Then they come and blow out Miami, but it's a game where Tua gets hurt early. They beat them like
Right.
35-0. And then, I mean, this was definitely the best looking game that Josh Allen's had. But I mean, they're an explosive offense.
Yeah, but like that's not good.
I
Though.
know,
Like,
I know.
like you said,
Yeah,
the best looking.
yeah,
I mean, that
it's
for a
true. It's
defense
true.
that's supposed to be.
And
That
well,
is just
okay.
not
I will say
good.
this as well. I will say this as well. A lot of it definitely on the defense, but the offense did commit 3 turnovers. There was the Logan Thomas, like Logan Thomas catches a big first down.
Yeah,
And
right.
and so there were a couple things actually.
that play that made my heart just fall. I mean,
Yeah.
because he got the.
He
He
gets the
keeps
first.
running. He
Yep.
pulls like a George Kittle. He like keeps
Yep.
on going, and then
Yep.
they just
I think
punch
he
it right
he
out.
went to
like,
tight end you. I think he went. And then
He
like
did, I think,
he's making the play, and yeah, the ball gets punched out. It's bullshit. And so there's that. And then Heineke throws 2 picks, which set him up. So a lot of it is on the defense, but the offense did give the defense a really short field to work with on 3 separate occasions with turnovers. Now,
You are correct. You are
really
correct.
it was a shitty combined team effort. Really, again.
But you understand my frustration. Given the hype of the
absolutely.
defense and how good they were, that now like this is what we get. Like that's
I think
not like
yeah.
You are right though. The offense is also to blame, but like, dude, it's like the defense is what was supposed to like carry the team, and that's the most disappointing. Like a spotty offense, fine, I'm used to that. But like the defense being that shitty is just like, well, what the fuck do we have then?
I think that they're gonna come out this Sunday, and they're gonna put a hurting on the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are by far the worst team they've played so far. I mean, the Falcons obviously capable of getting a win. It's the NFL. Anybody on any given Sunday can get a win. Let's first say that. Obviously, that's clear. I mean, they got a last minute win with Young Koo over the Giants, with a 40-yard field goal yesterday, and like that's what got them the win. But the Falcons are depleted. I mean, this isn't the same team that's had Julio Jones and like a good running back. I mean,
at the same time though, like you're saying here, like, oh, the Falcons are like the worst team they face. They're depleted. That really doesn't scream like, oh, if we beat them, that's so great.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's like. So I mean,
but what you need is a win to build confidence. If the team's not playing,
you're right, and but this is also a thing. Like if we don't win this game, like What am I gonna? You think this episode is bad? Wait till next week
Yeah.
if we lose.
They're,
I'm
they're,
just kidding.
I think they're gonna win 31-14. I think that's gonna be the final.
I also think they're gonna win, but also there's like a thing with Redskins fans. It's like it's called the curse.
Yeah. Well,
you never go with like, oh, they're gonna win. You think they're
yeah,
gonna win.
I'm not predicting what
Be
the Niners
prepared,
are gonna
be-
do, but
be
from
prepared
like
for
an
the loss.
outside source, like I mean, from an outside perspective, like looking at the matchups that they have, I think they win. I mean, here's the other thing.
I would as well.
I expected. I fucking took them on my fantasy team. I'm pissed off. I thought Atlanta was gonna fucking be throwing to Kyle Pitts 15 fucking times a game. Where the fuck are my Kyle Pitts targets? Like Kyle
Yeah,
Pitts is
right.
catching like 5 passes a game. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, Matty Ice? So it's like the top threat that they have, Kyle Pitts is an athletic freak, potentially like the most athletic tight end in the NFL, from like a
Yeah.
receiving standpoint, and they're barely using him. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that
fuck?
is weird.
By the
I
way,
was
you know who
excited to see him
made a
make some
great
plays.
play on a 4th and 2? Jamin that fucking line of scrimmage Davis. Did you see when he lit that guy up? Fucking caught the ball
Absolutely.
short and boom.
Yeah, absolutely. Just boom.
You want
Yeah,
to talk
and that
about
was very
positives?
nice.
Like that kid is coming along. Each game he gets a little
Absolutely.
bit better.
Yeah,
So,
that
like,
is true. He
yeah.
did have that was nice. Yeah, and he and like when they review the play, like he
Yeah.
read it perfectly, like because
Yeah.
the way the
Read and
way
react.
everyone was
That's
working,
why
he
Ron
ran
brought him
right
in.
in there.
That
and-
sideline to sideline speed, he can be everywhere.
But
dude.
that also shows that it takes time for growth because, like, at one point he looked lost on the field, and
Yeah.
now
In the
he's doing
preseason,
stuff
I
like that.
remember.
It's gonna take time. It's gonna take.
Yeah.
I mean, even like Chase Young, who is great and all, but like
It's
he
his
really
second
hasn't. He
year.
hasn't done that great
Second
yet
year.
this year. But like, yeah, it's like I think he overhyped himself, and it's like they're trying a little. I mean, I think, of course, I have to hope as the season progresses, even if it's a rough start. Like and you know what? The most important part of the season is the back end because all divisional games are there. So
Yeah.
what happens in the next couple of weeks? It's not like that huge, but obviously it matters. But
Yeah.
it's after like week 9, 10, 11. That's when it's like we need to start winning games.
You gotta
especially
stay.
the
You gotta
last
stay in
5,
it.
6
I
weeks.
mean, if you don't win now,
Exactly.
you're not in the
Right.
dance at the end of the season if you don't win at least some games now. So you gotta at
Right.
least win enough to stay in it. This Atlanta game,
It should be a win.
it's gonna be. But yeah, you gotta take those games.
We should
especially
be
when you have
2-2 if God,
Yeah.
please.
And I mean, Atlanta doesn't have a good offensive line. So, I mean, that defensive line, here's what it's going to take, but it's just going to take one good game for them to get 4 or 5 sacks where Chase Young
Yeah.
he's just got to get that one, dude. He's just got to get that one and start feeling it. And then like, it's how it's going to work, dude. They come in bunches.
Right.
It'll be all right. Like, I mean, this is seasons. Very rarely does your season start off really well. Like we've had one good season that I can remember, and it was the 2019 season where we started off 9-0. That I was just like, damn, this is like a really good fucking season, like start to a season. Usually
guess it
you're
was
starting
just-
off.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say usually you're starting off, like 2 or 3, like 3-2.
Yeah.
or something. Like
That's true.
you got to figure out your team's identity. You got to figure out who the hell you are.
Yeah, I guess this season it was just like how last season wasn't that great, but like the defense was so good, and then the level of hype with all the added weapons we got. Like we had Fitzpatrick, who's now injured, but I know most people aren't really that out of shape about that. But Heineke and Fitz don't seem like they're like hugely different. I mean, like they are, but like you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Heineke has proven himself somewhat enough. I mean, yes, he did throw two picks, but like quarterbacks throw picks. He's not Russell Wilson or he's not Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah.
but he could be.
They
I don't
they
know.
all throw interceptions. That is one thing. It all happens. I mean, sooner or later.
Although I'll be
they all
honest,
throw
the
picks.
interceptions that Taylor threw were pretty bad.
They were pretty bad. Yeah.
They
Although
were
wasn't
they were
one
pretty
like a
bad.
deflected pass? I want to say like one was.
One was really really bad, and then the other one
Yeah.
it was
It-
not as
It was the one where it was like trying to roll out to his right, and it's just like looking. It was like, and then they showed it on the replay, and they're like, "Well, we saw it from our angle, and like we wouldn't have let it go." Well, no shit.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, and honestly, I didn't agree with that take because when looking at it from his angle, it did look like the it was good coverage. It was just a good defensive
Yeah,
coverage. The
yeah,
guy, like I saw when it showed what he saw, I was like, it looked open to me, but that guy just lunged in front of it and blocked it, and it was like, well, what are you gonna do?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was,
So yeah, that's week 3. Not
yeah,
not great, but hopefully week 4. Well, it has to be better than 43-21. So
gotta get McLaurin more involved. Only 7 targets. That's not enough.
yeah, agreed. I don't know
Not
what
enough.
that was about. Like, cause the other game in week 2, man, he had
You gotta
a,
feed the man.
yeah, he had I
He
had
had
so
like
many fantasy points from him that
I want
week.
to
Like
say he had
Jesus,
11 catches.
I want to say yeah, I think it was 11 as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. So that was disappointing to see. He always makes plays like I just don't understand why they didn't try and go to him more.
So
But
there was another thing that I can think of at one point, like where they hit, and there were a lot of penalties too, which slowed down their momentum. So it's like a combination of the defense didn't play well, the 3 turnovers, and there were a lot of penalties on both sides of the ball. Like I remember at one point, like early in the game, Taylor converted on a crossing route to McLaurin. So that would have been another catch. It would have been like his 5th catch of the game, but it got wiped out by penalty, and it got
yeah, I
back.
forgot about
I want to say
that.
it was
But
like illegal,
now I
illegal
remember
formation or something. Yeah. So like there were
something
several like
stupid.
back-breaking penalties where they just got killed on drives. So
Yeah.
Ron is gonna like fucking chew ass, I bet, and like I think that a more focused effort's gonna come out against Atlanta. Also playing a first-year head coach in Arthur Smith in Atlanta. He's still trying to figure shit out himself.
All right. Well, hopefully we're eating some birds for dinner.
Hopefully, hopefully,
Although I wouldn't eat a falcon because falcons are actually pretty awesome, but
yeah,
that has nothing to do with the NFL team.
that's true. That is true. But yeah,
But yeah, so
enjoy.
I guess that's it for this week's Redskins rundown. Hopefully next week will be something to be more happy about, but look forward to the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Hey everybody, welcome to the weekly Niners news update. Thanks for joining us this week. So today we're going to talk about the unfortunate first loss of the season that we took to the Green Bay Packers, 30-28. Unfortunately,
Aaron decided to show up this time.
yeah. I knew that first game wasn't going to
Yeah,
be
that was a fluke.
indicative. Yeah, that absolutely was. That kind of shit does not happen all the time, and ever since that, the Packers have played 2 really good games against the Lions and us. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we did lose. What I would say is, and I'm sure not all the faithful would agree with me because a lot of people are pissed off, and I always hate losing. Like that shit always sucks. But I mean, I think that there's a lot to be positive about
You
this
guys, it was
game.
very close. I mean,
Yeah,
you played very well. It's not like the Washington's loss. Like that's not a loss you should be that upset about. It's like you got beat barely.
right.
It is what it is. Like it's Aaron Rodgers. Like
Yeah. So the assessment on the situation, and that's exactly how I feel about it too. I mean, anytime you play Aaron Rodgers in the Green Bay Packers, that's an explosive offense, and they're hard to stop. I mean, we've had in the past success against the Packers, but they always usually, with the exception of that one game where we just ended up running for a bunch of yards, and that was just like a fluke blowout. They're generally pretty close games, and yeah, I mean it was definitely a good game for Aaron. Our defense didn't play as well as usual, or as well as they had in the first 2 games. I think we had only generated 1 sack. We gave up 30 points, and a whole bunch of yards to Aaron. He had 2 touchdowns, no picks. I don't think we forced any any turnovers in that game, as I recall. Um, Big news out of the game too, in addition to the loss, are of course the injuries that we sustained. One of which being Josh Norman sustained a chest injury where he bruised his lungs, and I guess was coughing up some blood in the locker room. I guess he's going to try to play next week, which sounds like if he's able to play, that would be pretty badass on his part because bruised lungs sound very painful.
Yeah, man, that's gotta take some time to
Yeah.
heal. Like,
I mean, and they said that Josh Norman was in good spirits after the game, so hopefully we can get him back because we're already down, obviously, from the first game of the season, Jason Verrett.
yeah,
And he was our first corner. And in game 3, we actually got Emmanuel Mosley back. So for a while, we were doing pretty well. Like we had Emmanuel Mosley and Josh Norman out there, and then Josh Norman gets hurt, and then Diamador Lenora has to step up, and he's been playing well in all 3 games. Like we've been asking a lot of the young rookie.
yeah.
I mean,
For him, for
he's
being a rookie, he has done well. But
yeah.
I'm sure you saw he did get burned.
He gets beat. He gets beat a couple times each game. Like for like the couple good plays he has, he definitely gets. He's got some rookie mistakes in
Yeah.
him for sure. But I think he's going to be a good player, and that's just one of the growing things. And when you've got a young player in the secondary, it's just one of those like growing pains. Sometimes they're just going to make a mistake in coverage or just blow an assignment.
Right. Like
or
Jamin
something
Davis
like
for
that.
Washington, even a first round pick. Like
Yeah,
he's a rookie, man,
Yeah.
and they're gonna, at first they're gonna be overwhelmed possibly,
Yeah.
and it's gonna take some
And-
time for them to get comfortable and start making big plays.
So when you think about it, I mean, Diamador Lenore could be the steal of the draft. I mean, he's a guy that we drafted in the 5th round that's been starting the first couple games. So I mean that's always a good value. That's like your Cameron Curl, George Kittle value. You don't.
I hope he does well just on his name, because I want to be able to just be all excited and go like
He's,
Diamador Lenore.
he's doing well so far.
love it.
I think. I mean, like, and obviously he's having, but the whole team at moments in that game, had some mistakes. A few passes even got dropped in over Fred Warner, although he had a pretty good game as usual. But we also had an injury to Kwan Williams, who's usually our nickelback, our 3rd cornerback, who's specifically for those 3 wide receiver packages, and he's expected to miss a couple weeks, which is really unfortunate. So hopefully we're able to get Josh Norman back, because right now, as it stands, we've got Emmanuel Mosley, Dante Johnson, and Dante Johnson got a little bit banged up too, but he'll be able to play. So Emmanuel Mosley, Dante Johnson.
Oh, that's the one I remember I told you about.
Yeah,
yeah.
He
got right back up.
Yeah. Ambry Thomas, who's a rookie that's been inactive in a couple games, so we're really yet to see what he could do, but he'll probably end up having to step up. And the 49ers just this week signed Buster Screen, former Cleveland Brown and New York Jet.
I'm sorry. That was his name?
Buster Screen. Yeah.
Buster
Screen. Skrine. Screen. Yeah.
Wait, spell it one more time.
Skrine.
No, his first name, Buster.
Oh yeah, Bust.
Oh, okay, yeah, I got that. All right, I got it then. Wow, and that sounds like a play call. Like the quarterback's like, "All right, Buster Screen."
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Hopefully he does bust up a few screens for the Niners and make some plays and get some stops for us.
That's awesome.
We'll end up seeing if we need him, because as we mentioned earlier in the show, Sherm is meeting with the Bucks today, so he may sign. Obviously, we're banged up at corner too, so we would have been a team that has been talking with him. We were also in the running to sign him. I just don't think that we had the cap space for that. But yeah, we're gonna see what happens there. Hopefully, we've got enough guys that can step up for us. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers is pretty good against any corner, so I don't think it would have really mattered who we had out there. He was going to have a pretty good game. We stopped their run pretty well for the most part, as we usually do. And as I mentioned before, Eric Armstead got his first sack of the season. So those were some of the positives on the defensive end of the ball. Also, we've been getting reps to players like Contavious Street, who's a young up and coming player that has had injury problems his first couple years in the league. So good to see him getting some reps and stuff out there. Also, for the second straight game, we had Kinlaw out there, so he's back from the knee injury. D Ford was out there, Bosa was out there, although they didn't get any sacks. But good to see these guys that have been banged up in the past stringing together games. That's definitely what you want to see. So even though they didn't have an effect in the game, definitely no other big injuries other than that. In terms of the offensive side of the ball, we started off extremely slowly. Um, didn't score until the last minute of the first half when we were already down in a 17-0 hole, which, as I told you, I think that if we even score a field goal like in the first quarter of that game, we probably
Mm.
win. Likely, like if we would have done something like that. There were a couple of miscues. Obviously, Jimmy at one point throwing an interception. That was his first turnover of the season. He also had a fumble, which was I don't know if you remember seeing this, but it was the play where he was basically getting pressured in the backfield and he kind of spun around with the ball and he kind of like was going to like throw it
Yeah,
down.
he was going to
Release it.
throw it, right?
Yeah,
And it
and
kind
he
of
was
came
telling the
out.
refs, he's like, I threw it. But basically, what happened was like, and I think that it was like an innocent enough thing. I mean, obviously it was innocent. He wasn't trying to like fuck the team over, but
Didn't it
it,
go backwards?
yeah, yeah. So basically, I think what happened was like Jimmy was getting spun around, right? And like he went to throw the ball, but I think because he was getting spun and he probably lost his sense of direction because he was like mid spin, probably didn't realize he was releasing the ball behind him. Because he was like in the
Uh,
event of getting turned by the defender because they
yeah,
were pursuing him and trying to sack him. He had a guy right there trying to get him. So I
yeah,
think he
I
was
do
trying to
remember
like
that.
spin out of it, and then I think like he just went to release the ball, probably meant to release it in front of him, goes to release it slightly, but yeah, and yeah, and
Yeah, right. Yeah,
so
I remember that. That
and
was
that
yeah,
was a
that was
situation
unfortunate.
where they took over with good field position. So Jimmy, who had played turnover free football in the first two games of the season, did have two turnovers in that game. But still in the season, he's got four turnovers to one pick, or four touchdowns to one pick. So I mean, overall, his
Definitely
numbers have
good.
been
Well,
good.
good ratio.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing good so far. He's thrown for 760 yards through three games, completed 67% of his passes. Like I said, thrown four touchdowns, one pick. So his numbers have been pretty good so far. And like I said, we're 2-1. We could have easily been 3-0. And then in fact, I actually thought that we were. Um, funny enough, when you told me that they had won. Funny enough story about this faithful. I actually didn't watch the game live, which is like the first time in a long time I haven't caught the game live because I was at a festival this weekend, so I actually missed the game initially, and I'm sitting there and there's like terrible cell service. So it was fucking awful. Like I was trying to like
Oh, I didn't know that
have
part.
a no, it's okay. I was trying to periodically check the score myself, but like the internet was just so slow there. Turns out because like it only works there if you have like Verizon and shit. Come to find out, but anyway,
Oh, I got Verizon. How
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Anyway, wasn't working. So like I am having a good time, trying to have like a good time, and also like nervous because I think that like I was like, oh man, I was like, well, at one point because they were down, I was like, well, they're probably just gonna lose. But then they started rallying back, and I was like, oh well, maybe they'll actually win. Then Jimmy gets them down there, throws a nice touchdown pass to Hughescheck, which I ended up not knowing at the time. I ended up having to watch the game afterwards and
It's
seeing which.
because I got excited
Yeah,
and it was there.
yeah.
There was like
So
very
he
short
he
amount of
so
time
he gets
left.
excited and tells me that the night he's like, holy shit, they won when it's like a 28-27 game. And
But
and
there was like
yeah,
37 seconds
he's like,
left
there's 36 seconds and no
or
timeouts.
some
And like
shit.
my
Yeah, like
response is like literally like, oh, they lost. I was like, oh no, they're fucked. I was like, nope. I was like, they left way too much time. And before I could have, I was like, no. I was like, dude, they're done. I was like, you should. I was like, they're done. I was like, they fucking lost. I was like,
uh
for the, because I already knew. Basically, if you leave like more than like fucking 15 seconds with air, and it's too much. And that maybe because he's got like three Hail Marys in his career, so 15 seconds might. If you leave any time on
yeah.
the clock for Aaron, it's too much time. And
Oh man, I thought they were gonna lose and then they
so
scored and I
so
got so
here's
excited. I was like, there's no
yeah,
time left. They have no timeouts. They have
yeah.
to have won.
So and it's hard to ever criticize somebody for scoring, but like watching the game and rewatching the game, I think what should have happened is like when Jimmy hits juice, down at the goal line, and Juice is getting tackled, right? Juice, with a phenomenal effort, gets in the end zone and pushes his way in. Juice should have gone down and let that
The
clock
juice
roll.
is loose.
Yeah, but Juice should have gone down at the 1, let the clock
Yeah.
roll, and trusted that we would have gotten another play and like let that clock roll a little bit. Like
That is true.
we got in with 36 seconds left. Like, and I think,
But you know what? Hindsight is 2020, man. So
well, I know, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh man, because like he should have just.
and just like I thought, 37 seconds, no timeouts. Like they got it. They got it. It's fine. But obviously they didn't. But
Yeah.
I bet most people out there were probably like, "Oh yeah, we got it. It's in the bag." And then everyone's dreams got shattered, abruptly after. But
Aaron's too good, man. There's like certain people that just like there's not a lot of them that I really worry about like that, but it's like Aaron, obviously Tom Brady, like Mahomes obviously haunts my dreams
yeah,
with what he can come in and do in 10 minutes in a game. But
wasn't it like 8 minutes
it was a short amount of
or
time.
6 minutes and 40 seconds? I don't know if that's
was
actually right, but it sounds like it
it
might
was
be.
too.
It was
It should have been
unbelievable.
enough
It was.
time that we should have been fine. We should have been Super Bowl champions.
Yeah.
Is what it should have been.
Yeah.
Instead, it was goddamn Patrick Mahomes going off. Fucking, which I mean, good for him, I guess. Being
Although he lost the next year in that Gridiron Heights thing. Like,
yeah,
I like winning the Super Bowl more than losing it.
well, because you know who he played because he played the Tom Brady. It's hard to
Yeah.
get him in the Super Bowl. It's hard. There's like one guy that's like his Super Bowl kryptonite, and that's Eli Manning. This goddamn Eli Manning gets him in the Super Bowl, but that's it. Anyway, yeah. So, I mean, going with that, we did lose. And I'm sure a lot of faithful are pissed off about that. But it was our first real test of the season. And I take it as a positive because we obviously could have won that game. And Green Bay was a game that I went into it thinking that could have gone either way. Like when I looked at our schedule, I was like, that's a game that we could win or lose. Absolutely. Because it could go either way. And it literally could have because it came right down to the last minute of the game.
Yeah.
And goddamn Mason, we're talking about kickers earlier. Mason Crosby with the goddamn 50 fucking 1-yarder. Like, or was it 50? It was he had a 51 and a 54. I can't remember if the 51 or the 54 was at the end of the game, but I was like, damn, automatic Mason Crosby. Actually. But way to go for him, I guess. Anyway, fucking Robbie's been having a good season. All we had to have him do in that game was kick extra points, though. But as far as the running back situation goes, we only had Trey Sermon play running back and Hughescheck. They were the only two that lined up in the backfield, and a little bit of Deebo Samuel. But we didn't see any of Trenton Cannon at running back. He returned some kicks, and he actually got a really good kickoff return. I don't know if you remember the 68-yard kickoff return that Trenton Cannon had. But we just got him from Baltimore. But I thought we'd give him some carries, but it was all on Trey Sermon, and he had a pretty average game. I think he finished with like 10 carries for 31 yards, but he did end up getting his first career touchdown late in the game, so that was a positive. And obviously Trey Lance got his first career rushing touchdown. We got to see some of Trey. Trey got a few plays in this game, and one that ended up getting called with a penalty, so it ended up getting negated. And Jimmy ended up throwing a couple touchdown passes as well. So overall, like the offense, when they woke up, they ended up scoring 28 points. So there were some positives. It was just they got off to such a slow start. And but yeah, that's more or less what I had to go with there. Obviously, there's some growing pains and some things that we need to iron out defensively and offensively, getting off to better drives and sustaining drives. But something to build on. We have Seattle next week, and they're coming off a second straight loss. They're 1-2 right now, so hopefully we can get another win over them and move on to 3-1 because the Rams and the Cardinals are both 3-0. And they're looking real good right now. So hopefully we can pull out a win
against
them. An always tough Seattle team. But
Yeah.
That's all I have tonight for the Niners news update. And want to say good night to everybody, and thanks for joining us.
Have a good night, everybody.
And actually, that's going to bring us to the end of the show for the night as well, because that's all we have for you for tonight. So join us next week when we go over the games we talked about, and also anything else that's happening in the NFL news at the time. So have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be talking about some wins next instead of losses.
Yeah, I mean, we're hoping so. We've got 2 winnable games. I mean, Seattle's a tough game, obviously, but I think that
Yeah.
we've got the potential to beat Seattle, especially if we can get some of our. We'll see if maybe Elijah Mitchell can play running back. We're
And
hoping,
I think we
fingers
can
crossed.
definitely beat Atlanta. So
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely,
talk about that next week.
absolutely. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.